Welcome to The Becks, a podcast that explores multimedia horror with hosts Becky and Sydney. Join us as we talk about movies, books, video games, music, and much, much more.
Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks. And it is the month of October. It's spooky season.
Spooky, spooky, spooky.
And we decided that we are going to be talking about horror comedies. Starting off with Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I love it when you laugh like that. It's so funny.
Yeah, yep. Anyway. Sound like that? No. We're talking about Dale and Tucker versus Evil?
Oh,
no. Okay, anyway.
So this movie came out in 2011.
Man, I'm old. Whew.
It took me... So I didn't see it until me and James got together. So it was at least like 2017 before I watched it. So
I don't even know when I watched it. My boys introduced me to it, so
it's a great movie. And anyone who tells you that it isn't is a liar.
All you do is laugh. You gotta appreciate dumb comedy, though. I mean, you really do. Dark, dumb comedy. You have to appreciate it. Because it's hilarious. All you do is laugh. We watched it last week.
All right, so Tucker is played by Alan Tudyk, and Dale is played by Tyler Labine. It also stars Katrina Bowden, who plays Allison, and Chad is played by Brandon J. McLaren. So those are the four characters that matter.
Wow.
Allie and Brad's other friends, they don't really matter that much.
Not for long.
Yeah, exactly. So the typical horror trope for the genre like this is that the hillbillies are the psychopaths, right? And that's the assumption that these college kids all have.
Yeah, because they're heading up. They decide to go to this cabin in the woods. And so they're heading up there, and they have to stop at this little store, gas station.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, to get gas. And, yeah, they run into Dale and Tucker. And immediately they're like, oh, they're weird. Which, in all fairness...
They are very weird.
Yeah.
They're just awkward. They're just weird in, like, a normal awkward way.
Yeah. Because, yeah.
Yeah, because the college kids go around Tucker and Dale in the pickup truck, and when they pass them, Tucker and Dale just stare at them like dead-eyed.
Yeah.
Creepy as hell.
Now, Dale and Tucker are on their way to the cabin that they bought in the woods.
Yeah.
It's their new summer home.
It's their vacation
Their
home.
vacation home. They're super excited.
And when you first see it, it is like the most stereotypical, creepy cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
There's even newspaper clippings all over the wall talking about the murders that happened there like 20 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
And all the boys focus on is a coupon for free pizza or something.
Yeah. And there's no expiration date.
Yeah.
So they're super excited. But yeah, when they were at the gas station too, Dale thought one of the girls was pretty and he tried to talk to her and that did not go well. So
yeah, Tucker told him, go over there, act confident, laugh at everything she says because that exudes confidence or whatever. So Dale goes over there and he has like this farming scythe with him. I don't know why he took it with him. But he just walks over there and he's like, how you guys doing tonight? You gonna... Oh, God, what did he say? It was like, it's like a very innocent question, but the way he says it, and he immediately laughs afterwards, but it's not a confident laugh. It's like a really weird, deranged laugh. He's like, and they immediately freak out and start they all just get back into their car and
Yeah, they're already scared of them. Completely scared of them. Yeah, so they get to the cabin, Dale and Tucker do, and they're so excited. It's beautiful. Can't believe this is ours.
Yep.
Just needs a little work.
Yeah. On the way to the cabin, though, they get pulled over by the cop.
Oh, yeah. Forgot.
And so they're both drinking beer, which I don't know if I can... Okay, I will neither confirm nor deny that I've ever done this, but people just drinking beer while they're driving down the road to, like, their ultimate vacation destination. I know lots of people who've done that. But the thing is, like, a cop starts following them, and they get pulled over, so then they're trying to get rid of the beer and hide it, and Dale ends up, like, on Tucker's lap. And it looks very suggestive, okay? And he's trying to pull away, and his shirt gets stuck on something. So then when he finally gets free, he's, like, coming up from on top of Tucker's lap, and he has no shirt on because it got torn off. And the sheriff is like, "What are you two boys doing?" And they explain to him, like, "Oh, they're just going up to their vacation home, like, in this area or whatever." And the sheriff's like, "I can't believe you guys bought property there. Like, it's bad up there.
Nothing but evil up there."
Yeah. And he actually just pulled them over because of, like, a broken taillight or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he let them go, but they were both like, "Man, that guy was intense. Like, what was his problem?"
They're so clueless.
Yeah.
It's just so innocent.
They're both... And that's where this movie is at its strongest, because they legitimately are, at every step of the way, just trying to enjoy their time at the vacation home. And then when Allie hurts herself, they're just trying to save her and, like, take care of her. But their actions are misconstrued in every way.
Every way. It's just a calamity of errors. It's so bad. So they decide to go night fishing.
Yep.
And
at the same time, the college kids decide to go skinny dipping.
Skinny dipping in the middle of a swamp. That was swampy water.
It was.
I'm not getting in anything like, there's alligators and things like that. But here they are.
In West Virginia?
Okay, maybe not that far north, but there's other things.
There is.
There's, like, copperheads, and they swim. Ugh, I don't want to get bit by a copperhead snake. And
especially not naked.
There's swampy areas like that. You know there's leeches.
Yeah, and it's, you know that, like, the silt that they're stepping in is slimy.
But anyway, so they're out swimming.
And Allie's kind of shy about it. Like, she kind of goes away from the group. And she goes, unbeknownst to her, she goes closer to where Tucker and Dale are fishing.
Yeah, and she's still got her underwear on.
Yeah,
she didn't get naked.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tucker and Dale end up noticing her, like, they're arguing over the last beer. And she hears them, and they notice her, and she freaks out and falls into the water. And they notice after a few seconds, like, oh, she's not coming up. So then Dale dives in the water after her and grabs her and tries to put her on the boat. Well, at this point, they've drifted out further into, like, the area, into, like, a more open area. And the other college kids notice. And Tucker's, like, they're dragging her onto the boat. And she's unresponsive, right? And he yells, "We've got your friend!"
And they take that as they've kidnapped their friend.
Yep. And so
then they run away. And they're like, why are they running away? Why aren't they coming to get her?
Yeah, they're so flabbergasted by it. So they take her back to the cabin. And they do save her from drowning. And when she wakes up, she's freaking out. Tucker has a dog, Jangers.
Yes.
Except it's pronounced Jangers. It's Jangers. So there's this big scary dog that she wakes up to, and he's, like, growling at her or whatever. And then Dale comes in with pancakes, and, like, he fixed her breakfast, and he has, like, he put a little copper cup on there, and he put wildflowers in it. And, like, it's a very cute little homemade breakfast that he made her. And she screams as soon as she sees him and starts freaking out. And he's like, "You don't like pancakes! I'm so sorry!" He runs away and comes back. And she eventually kind of warms up to him. She realizes that, oh, no, like, we literally just saved you from drowning. Like, we weren't trying to peep on you.
Yeah. We were just out fishing. It was an accident.
And, Dale talks about how he and his friend Tucker are there, fixing up the cabin because they always dreamed of having a vacation home. Meanwhile, the other college kids are plotting to get Allison back.
Because they think that the evil hillbillies, rednecks, have got her.
And they send one of the kids whose vehicle they used to get out there. He's like, "Oh no, nobody else is allowed to drive my dad's car, so I'll drive it and I'll get help." So he leaves and everyone's mad because then the rest of them are all stranded. They come up to the cabin. They're looking around the woods. They come up to the cabin and they see Allison helping Dale dig something, and they immediately assumed that she's digging her own grave.
They're making her dig her own grave, those sick fucks. What the hell's wrong with them?
Yeah. Oh, earlier though, when Allison and Dale were... This is... When the kids first find the cabin, Dale and Allison are still inside. Tucker is outside with the chainsaw.
Oh, that's right.
And and they actually, the college kids convince, like, their newest friend to go up and knock on the door or whatever. So when he goes to do that, right when Tucker is cutting into the log that he's trying to slice open, well, he cuts into a hornet's nest. And so they all start stinging him. He doesn't even notice the college kid coming up to him. He just starts running. And he has a chainsaw in his hand.
That's running, too.
And the college kid is, like, thinking that he's trying to kill him. So he's running. So they're both running.
And they're, like, side by side, looking over at each other.
And the kid... No! And the kid isn't looking where he's going because he's watching Tucker swing the chainsaw around trying to get the wasp. And he impales himself on a tree that's fallen over.
Yeah.
Totally gruesome way to die.
Yeah.
Tucker does not notice this happening. He comes back to the cabin. He's pissed. His whole face is swollen. And Dale's like, "What the fuck happened, man?" And he's like, I sawed into a hornet's nest. And Dale's like, "What'd you do that for?" And he's like, "I didn't do it on purpose." He's like, "And it wouldn't have happened if you were out there helping me." So Tucker's a little jealous of the attention that Allison is getting from Dale, I think. It's kind of... Their vacation is definitely derailing a little bit.
Yeah, it was supposed to be just the two of them going up there to fix up the cabin and hang out. And now there's a girl.
Yep. So that's when Dale goes out to dig the shitter hole. And Allison reveals that she grew up on a farm, so she knows how to do the hard work. And so she volunteers to help Dale, and that's why she's digging the hole.
Yeah.
When the college kids come back. That, they find the college kid that died, that got impaled, and they're like, "Oh, these guys are sick fucks."
Yeah, they're convinced they're just horrible, evil murderers.
This is when they find the other college kid dead, that's when all hell breaks loose. They decide to just fucking rush at the hillbillies.
Yep.
And one of them comes screaming at Dale, and he has the shovel on his shoulder, and he, like, turns to look and is all shocked, and the shovel hits Allie. And she gets knocked out and just lays at the bottom of the hole that they've been digging. And one yells one runs at where Tucker is, and he's feeding wood into the wood chipper. And he misses Tucker Tucker moves out of the way and he dives into the wood chipper and gets all chipped up. And he grabs his leg. Tucker grabs the college kid's legs like he's trying to pull him out. But to all the other college kids, it looks like he's pushing him into the wood chipper.
And one dies in the hole, right? Too? Yeah.
Yeah, and when the kid who goes through the wood chipper, when he comes out the other side, it covers college girls. She's like the real ditzy one. I think she wears heels the whole time.
But it made me laugh so hard because as he's trying to pull the kid out of the wood chipper, and he's clearly like, his whole torso and head are gone.
Yeah.
He's like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
He's feeling, but it clearly looks like he's shoving him in the wood chipper. Oh my God, it's so, again, dark humor. It's gross, but it's so funny.
It is, yeah. And the thing is their delivery is so convincing. Like, they're so genuine and just innocent. They get Allie back into the cabin with a new bandage on her head. Tucker is like, man, I think all these college kids are in a suicide pact. He's like, one jumped into the wood chipper right in front of me. I couldn't stop him.
It's so bad. They're so traumatized, too. Like, they are really traumatized. They don't know what's happening.
Yeah. And so the one college kid that left, it cuts back to him driving back up the highway with the cop, the same cop from earlier. And he's like, I'm sure the sheriff is talking to the kid and he's like, I'm sure this is just a big misunderstanding. Like, it'll be fine. And that's when the college kids that are left alive come running out of the woods screaming. The one's covered in blood. Oh, that's right.
Oh,
okay, so... Yep. The college kid that's chasing after Dale that makes him hit Allie in the head with the shovel, he has like this wooden spike and he's trying to spear Dale with it, but instead what happens is he falls into the hole and he ends up spearing himself in the gut with it.
So that's two that have impaled themselves.
Yeah. And then of course the poor wood chipper fuck.
Oh shit.
So the character who's interested in Allie, Brad, he's against them. So he was against the guy leaving to go get the cops. He was against them trying to get away. Like, he was like, this is our time. We can show these hillbillies who's boss. Like, he has a weird fucking, like, vendetta. Okay? He wants to kill these people for what they're allegedly doing to Allie. And even later on in the movie, when you find out when it really was just a misunderstanding, he won't accept it.
Yeah, no.
He's crazy.
Kind of a douchebag.
Yeah, he's crazy. Like, even, like, so when Allie first broke off from the group, it's because he made her uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He was talking about how she didn't need to act like she was better than everybody else and whatever. Like, he had cottoned on what she was doing and he was super hot for her or whatever. It was just really creepy.
Yeah, super creepy. Just one of those creepy guys. Fun.
So back at the cabin, they're talking about the suicide pact and how they're in. Dale is like, they're trying to kill Allie, and Tucker's like, okay, why do you think that? And he's like, I don't know, but it's the only thing that makes sense.
They acted so weird when we saved her. They wouldn't come get her.
Yeah.
They must be trying to kill her too.
So then Dale is like, we should go to the police. And Tucker's like, Dale, do you know how this looks? It looks like we killed a bunch of college kids. We know that they came in here and, like, killed themselves, but no cop is going to be moron enough to listen to that story.
And backstory before this, when they first went into the cabin, they have a column, like a support beam in their cabin that's loose, and they keep saying every time they go near it that they have to fix it.
Yeah, because it will detach, and then a bunch of nails on the end will swing forward, and it's a very dangerous
Yeah, and there were a lot of weapons in this cabin when they first got there, too. Strange, unusual hooks hanging. And
very sketchy.
Yeah.
Like, murderers definitely owned this cabin.
Yeah, for sure.
So the cop picks up, the bloodied teenagers on the side of the road, and he continues to drive them towards the cabin, which is crazy to me. Like, you'd think that a cop would leave them at the station or something.
Yeah.
I don't know how far away it was.
Call for backup.
Yeah.
I don't know, something.
He was very skeptical about their story, even though one of them came and was covered in blood. Okay. Like, they were like, they killed them all! They killed our friends! Whoa!
Yeah.
So, they show up to the cabin. And Tucker and Dale come out, and Tucker's like, you just let me talk.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea, Dale says. Good idea.
And so he starts telling the cop, yeah, officer, these teenagers, or these college kids, just started showing up and killing themselves right in front of us. And the cop's like, what kind of moron do you think I am that you would look me in the face and tell me that? And finally, they get around to telling the cop that, hey, the friend that we've allegedly kidnapped or whatever, she's literally in the cabin. She's fine.
Yeah, come talk to her.
Yeah, Dale was like, I hit her in the head with a shovel, but it was on accident. And Tucker's like, shut up! So the cop goes into the cabin after them, and all the college kids are literally outside, and they're like, what is he doing? Why is he going in there? Like,
don't go in there!
The fuck? So he goes in and he checks on Allie, and she's fine, like a little concussed, whatever. And he's like, wow, this really is just the strangest shit. And he's like, but you guys know how this looks. You're gonna get charged with something.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's like still talking to them, and he goes and he leans on the support column.
And they're like, no. Oh.
And it beams him right in the face. And it beams him in the face. There's nails sticking out of his face. It's horrible. He stumbles backwards out of the doorway. Falls to the ground.
With these big nails through his head.
Yeah.
And a piece of board stuck to him.
And he's like stumbling over to his cop car. Probably to just, because it's just an accident, And he tries to use his radio to call for probably
help?
An ambulance. But he literally falls over dead. And the thing about cop cars is, too, if you've ever been in them, if you're in the back seat, they have to let you out.
Yeah, you can't get out.
So these 3 college kids are stuck in the back seat, and they're screaming because he's dead. They think that the hillbillies, Tucker and Dale, they think he killed him. And the one guy that is still in the front seat, he stumbles out. And instead of letting his friends out of the back seat of the car, he grabs the cop's gun and goes to shoot it. And it won't fire because the safety's on. And Dale was like, you have to turn the safety on. And so he turns the gun around and is like trying to look and see where the button is, and he shoots himself in the head.
It's so gruesome. It's so bad.
Literally as soon as he turns the safety off. Which they can't possibly blame Dale and Tucker for, but
it's, yeah.
Brad is, he's not part of this group at all, because again, he was against them going to find the cop or whatever. He runs over, he's been watching this whole time, he runs over, grabs the revolver from his dead friend's hands, not even phased apparently.
No, not at all.
And starts shooting at them in the cabin. And Tucker and Dale are trying to figure out, what the fuck are we gonna do? And they have a nail gun. Dale almost shoots Tucker with it, because of course. And they hear Brad call from outside that they got jangers. And he's threatening the dog with the gun.
Yeah, what a piece of crap.
Give us Allie, or, the dog gets it. And so they kind of have this weird, Mexican standoff, shoot off, whatever. And Dale is distracting them by firing the nail gun. And he's going nuts with it for a second there. Tucker, meanwhile, sneaks out the back to try to untie Jangers. And he does manage to untie him, but then Jangers is, like, going the wrong way. And he's like, no, go the other way, you stupid mutt. And then, of course, Brad finally notices that Tucker's there. And he's not able to get away before he gets knocked out. So Tucker gets kidnapped. Allie wakes up in the cabin. And he's like, literally, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. She was just digging a hole.
Yeah. And Dale, she wants to go outside and investigate. She's like, if I can just talk to my friends, it'll all be fine. Like, this was just a misunderstanding. And Dale is like, don't go outside, man. It's a bloodbath out there. Because it literally is. Like, you got the wood chipper, you got the sheriff, you got the kid who blew his head off, you got the
kid that stabbed himself. Or the two kids that stabbed themselves and impaled themselves.
Yeah. It's awful.
So more of them are dead than not at this point of the college kids.
Meanwhile, Tucker wakes up and they took him out to the woods and hung him upside down. And they are, like, beating up on him. And Tucker's just real confused about everything. He's like, literally, what is your guys' deal? We didn't do anything to you.
We just had your friend. We just saved your friend. Why are you doing this?
And Brad actually cuts off some of Tucker's fingers. And then when Allie goes outside, against Dale's suggestions, advice, she finds this little bundle on the porch. And inside is a note that says, now we got your friend. And it's his fingers.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's about, I mean.
It was his bowling fingers.
Yeah, it was his bowling fingers. Specifically, Dale was like, they got his bowling fingers. So he tells Allie, Dale does, that he's like, that's my best friend. I gotta go get him.
Yeah.
He goes and searches for him without her. She stays at the cabin. And they had made like a trap, like a spike trap, that as soon as he crossed over a certain threshold, the log would like fling itself at whoever did it. Like, it's supposed to impale somebody, okay? Mm-hmm. And Tucker tries to tell him that it's a trap, but he doesn't understand. Like, he doesn't hear it. And it literally, the spike flies through the air and hits him like right. It doesn't hit him, it just misses him, but it goes right between his legs. And Dale goes, oh, I've never been so glad I'm not hung like a horse. Like, he just, like, reaches down and gently cups his dick. He's like, oh, I'm so glad. So he cuts him down, cuts Tucker down, and back at the cabin, the college kids break down the door, and they're like, come on, Allie, let's get out of here. And she's like, what are you guys talking about? Like, why are you whispering? No one's here. They get up, and she's telling them, like, no, like, they've been nice to me this whole time. Like, you guys are totally going crazy for no reason. Dale and Tucker are sweethearts. And the fucking one girl was like, oh my God, I know what this is. It's Stockholm Syndrome. And Brad gets super mad. He's like, are you in love with that fat idiot? Like, you're... And she's just like, what are you talking about? Like, she's literally just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And so she's not admitting to it, but she's not denying it either, which in his eyes is
just makes him mad. Yeah. It is her admitting it then. Yeah. He's psycho.
Yeah, he's totally psycho. Like, he's going to burn down the cabin. Like, he brings gasoline in and he's pouring it over everything. And he's like, nope, these fuckers are gonna burn. I hate them. And literally nothing she says is, like, getting through to him. Which, I think at this point, they show back up, and they're all pissed. Allie's like, we need to just sit down and show that nobody meant any harm, etc. And Tucker's like, oh yeah, I'm sure he didn't mean any harm when he cut my fucking fingers off. You know, he's really mad. And Allie has this bright idea to fucking sit Dale and Brad down at the table and do like a mock therapy session because she's studying to be a psychologist. And so she's like, you know, you'll take turns talking, you'll each
listen to what the other has to say.
And say your piece, and then, we'll resolve something or whatever. And so Chad starts, and earlier in the movie, when they'd first gotten to their campsite, he had talked about the Memorial Day massacre, where these hillbillies killed a bunch of college kids that were partying or whatever, and, like, his mother was the only survivor. And his dad's body was never found, and, all this stuff. So he recounts this, but this time he reveals that it was his mother.
Yeah.
He didn't share that before. He was just, like, talking about it to freak his friends out. So hillbillies killed his dad, and, like, raped his mom, and blah, blah, blah. So now
she was pregnant for him, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, we're being kind of blasé about it, but
No, it was a really intense scene.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Flashbacks and... Yeah.
And, like, so you can see why he has issues. Like, it makes sense. Everybody's like, holy fuck, lore drop. That was crazy.
Yeah. That explains a lot.
And then Dale says his piece about, how, like, he says, like, oh, I'm so sorry that hillbillies killed your family, and, but I wasn't even alive back then. Or, like, I was, like, 5 when that happened, so it wasn't me. So you can't blame me for that. But it is really horrible that happened. And then Allie's like, do you feel better now? And Dale was like, yeah, I feel like this great weight has been lifted. Just totally
absurd.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 other college kids that stayed back, and Brad had told them, like, hey, if we're not out within a certain amount of time, you guys need to you need to bust in and, like, take care of business. So it's been a long time because they're having their little fucking therapy session.
She was very good. She did great.
Yeah, totally. So they bust in, and so the guy, he comes in with a weed whacker. He totally misses Dale, who he was aiming for, and hits his girlfriend. So then her face is all eaten, chewed up. And then he gets lit on fire because Brad had the lighter. So even though they went through this whole, like, oh yeah, it was just a misunderstanding, whatever. The one guy comes in, weed whacks his girlfriend's face. Chad is like, all right, we're fighting now. Great. He lights the lighter because he dumped the gasoline earlier. He starts his friend on fire. The girl that came in with him tries to put him out, so she grabs just this unmarked jar. And Tucker and Dale are like, no, don't use that one, because it's obviously like moonshine.
Mm-hmm.
And she tosses it on him, and he lights up like a fucking frozen turkey in a deep fryer. And the whole cabin explodes. Tucker, Dale, and Allie barely make it out alive. And they think everyone's dead. They think Chad's dead. But then he only, like, half of his face is burned, and he, like, starts crawling after them. So they get in the cop car and start to drive away. Dale is celebrating way too soon. And he ends up crashing into a car. So then everybody gets basically thrown out of the car. Allie's missing. And Tucker is, like, dying on the side of a tree. And is like, he took her, I couldn't stop him, and, like, you gotta go after her. And Dale is like, I'm not brave like you, I can't do it. And Tucker's like, shut the fuck up, man. You're gonna save that girl. You're gonna be the hero. So
That's why I say not to drive super fast when you leave a place. You gotta be calm enough to drive slow so you don't hit other things.
Yeah, so going back to Becky's rant at the end of The Descent.
Yes.
When she drove like a bat out of hell.
Yes, this is why.
They made that mistake. They crashed.
Yes. You have to drive fast yet controlled.
Yeah.
Not crazy.
Well, he, like, straight up wasn't watching where he was going.
No, he wasn't.
So he goes after Brad and Allie and finds them at a sawmill. And Brad has Allie hooked up literally like a Scooby-Doo villain.
Yes, 100%
She's
like a Scooby-Doo villain.
She's, like, roped up to this conveyor belt that at the end of it is a saw. And she's slowly heading towards it. And Brad comes over the intercom of the sawmill, all dramatic and villain-like. And was like, will he save the girl? Blah, 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 whatever. They have like an all-out brawl while she's getting conveyed into the...
Exactly like a Scooby-Doo movie.
Yeah.
You gotta fight to stop, and
they're
she's getting closer to the saw.
Yeah, like, they're beating the shit out of each other. But Dale is the bigger dude, you know, and he ultimately gets the upper hand. He throws him out of the freaking sawmill window and unties Allie, and they're looking around the sawmill. Oh, and I should... They're looking around the sawmill, and she finds, like, this newspaper, and they deduce somehow, like, with the barest wisps of credibility, okay? They're like, oh my god, hillbillies attacked his mom, and she was the only survivor, and she was pregnant. He's part hillbilly! Which is one of the funniest reveals in a movie probably ever. It's hysterical.
This whole movie is hysterical. Everything about it is just, you find yourself laughing through the whole thing. There's just no way not to.
No, it is really funny.
And again, like I said, it's super dark humor, so some people may not like it, but it's hilarious.
Well, and that's the thing, too, is, like, I feel like... Okay, so I'm going to bring up the Scary Movie franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Scary Movie, Scary Movie 1, Scary Movie 2. They're shit. Okay, those movies are terrible. I don't think they're funny. I think they have some funny moments, but I think in general they're not funny, and they're not scary at all.
No.
They're just spoofs.
Yeah.
And they take the horror right out of it.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like Tucker and Dale is actually true to both genres that it's representing. It has some truly horrifying parts to it.
Yeah. No, the scenes are, I mean, it's gore. There's some nasty, gory death scenes.
Yeah, there's this horrifying shit that happens.
There's some jump scares, too. You don't expect things to happen.
But then it also is still a comedy. Like, it still has, you know, it has physical comedy, like with the chainsaw running thing. And... I forgot. So when they find the newspaper that is like a picture of
the Memorial Day killer.
Yeah. It literally is the spinning image of Chad. Or Brad. I'm sorry. Whatever his name is.
You've been back and forth the whole movie,
Have
Chad.
I really?
Brad. Yeah.
I've been...
The whole movie? The whole podcast. Jesus. We're in fine form tonight.
Listen, he just has a very generic white boy name. So when they tell him that he's part hillbilly, he's very distraught. And he's got a chainsaw. Who knows where he got the chainsaw. And Dale throws chamomile tea in his face, which was just conveniently in the sawmill for some reason.
In a cigar box.
Yeah. And, yeah, like I said, he gets yeeted out the window and dies. He totally dies.
But Dale feels so bad about it. You can see. He's even like, aw.
Yeah,
Man.
These people... Tucker and Dale are not killers.
No.
All right. They're totally traumatized by this whole fucking situation.
All they wanted to do was go to their vacation home.
What I think is awesome, though, is that they end up the police assume later on that Chad is, what's his fucking name? Is it Chad or is it Brad? Look, it's gonna be like Troy or something completely off. Like, oh my god. Anyway, they pin all of the other.
Chad.
Okay.
Chad, but you called him Brad for a lot of this podcast.
Fucking balls, dude.
I was like, I don't remember his name, so I'm just going with it. You did most of the talking tonight, so I'm like, yeah.
I'm a fraud. Okay, so it's Chad.
Chad. It is Chad.
It is Chad. They pin all of the dead people on him.
They, like, literally list it as a mass suicide, deranged killer.
Yeah. And, it cuts to Tucker in the hospital. Dale visits him. They reattached his fingers. But, like, one of his fingers is obviously not his finger. It's like a woman's finger. It even has, like, a red nail on it. He's like, Tucker's like, I don't remember this finger looking like that. And Dale's like, no, I was always like that, man. It's fine. And Tucker's kind of ribbing Dale for details. He's like, so, you and Allison, what's up? Did you ask her out? And Dale's like, no. And Tucker's like, come on, man. Like, you literally were the savior of the day. Like, you can ask her out. You know, she likes you. And they do actually, Dale and Allison, they do have chemistry on screen. Like, the actors have chemistry, and it's pretty believable, actually.
Yeah.
But Dale actually finally reveals that he learned that he and Allison are both interested in bowling, so they have a date to go bowling together.
Yes.
And then when they get to the bowling alley, one of Dale's other hillbilly friends is like, man, I can't believe you pulled a lady like that. And Dale's like, well, if I can do it, you can too. And so, okay, so it doesn't really show it, but, like, his hillbilly friend goes over and talks to one of the other
He, like, knocks her out, dude. That's what happened. He knocks her out and then drags her away.
Oh, because I guess Dale probably told him the whole story about what happened, because literally Allison kept getting knocked out. And right after his friend leaves, he gives Allison a gift, and inside is a helmet, which is hilarious. It's pink and it's got flowers on it, whatever. And he's like, you get knocked on the head too often. Like, you need this. Mm-hmm. And then in the background, literally his hillbilly friend knocks a bitch out and starts dragging her away. He got the wrong message from that.
Yes, he did.
This movie is so funny.
It is fun.
And I just want to call a bitch out right now, okay? Lizzie, you doubted me. When I told my friend Lizzie, you need to watch this movie. We're going to watch this movie tonight. And she's like, it looks stupid. Look at their stupid faces. This is going to be dumb. Meh. And then guess what? She laughed her ass off the whole movie because it's brilliant. It's so funny.
It is so funny.
And again, you kind of have to have a dark humor.
Yes. It's dark, it's gory, but it's hilarious.
It's really funny. And Alan Tudyk is one of my favorite actors of all time.
I like
and
him.
he is technically not the main character. Like, he's on the title card, but Dale's the main character.
Yeah.
It's more about Dale than him.
Yeah.
But they have such a genuine friendship on screen. Like, they almost act like brothers.
Yeah, they fight, they argue, they bicker, but when it comes right down to it, they love each other.
Yeah, and that really comes across. Like, I really hope that they're friends in real life, because it just feels so genuine. Like,
yeah, they have very good chemistry on the screen together. They really did. It was a great movie. It's hilarious. And I have to admit, when my sons first told me, oh, Mom, we're going to watch this, I rolled my eyes. I'm like, okay. And then I watched it and laughed through the whole movie. And now anytime somebody mentions it, I'm like, you got to watch it, man.
There is just so much in this movie that I like. Because I haven't seen it in a few years. It's been like 5 or 6 years. When I rewatched it, I kept, like, remembering stuff happening, like, right before it happened. So I would start laughing. Like,
you were laughing the whole time.
It was so genuinely funny. It's such a good movie.
I was cooking while we were watching it, too. But, yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah. So, I feel like Tucker and Dale is the perfect start to our funny October
horror movies.
Horror comedies, yes. We are going to talk about... What do you want to talk about next? Do you want to talk about The Babysitter? Or do you want to talk about Shaun of the Dead? Or... What was the other one I mentioned? Okay, well, pick one between The Babysitter and Shaun of the Dead.
You know I'm not good at picking. I'm like a flip a coin kind of girl.
Well, you got a coin right there.
All right. Heads is what?
Shaun of the Dead.
Okay. Oh, I'm not a very good flipper, though. Oh, did you hear that on the mic?
I think it showed up perfectly.
Okay, let me look. It is Tails.
Okay, so we're doing The Babysitter. That's what it'll be
I don't know
next.
if I've ever watched that.
It's a Netflix movie. It's so good. Even the sequel is pretty good. Not as good as the first one, but... Which I do want to mention, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil was pitched for a sequel because while it was panned when it came out... No, that's incorrect. It wasn't panned when it came out. It was just, like, really... Like, I don't know if they didn't advertise it well or whatever. It bombed at the box office in any case. But it grew, like, this huge cult following. So, eventually, they were like, oh, yeah, let's do a sequel. Alan Tudyk, I looked this up because I was curious. Alan Tudyk said that the script was so dog shit that he refused to return for it. So, it was, like, dead on arrival. So,
I'm just reading the description on Prime that says, Shaun of the Dead meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre in this gory comedy about two Southern guys mistaken for hillbilly psychos by a group of college kids. As the misunderstanding grows, so does the body count.
Yeah. That's
perfect.
What it is. Yeah. Never has a truer thing been stated.
Nope.
So yeah, it's a great movie. I feel like horror comedy is a underutilized genre. I don't know if it's just because people won't commit to doing a horror comedy in entirety. Like, they either will do just, like, a straight horror with comedic elements or a comedy with horror elements, and they just don't fully fucking go full throttle with it. But Tucker and Dale vs. Evil was not afraid to do that. And there are some other ones, like I said, like The Babysitter. I think is a great horror comedy, and so is Shaun of the Dead. So we're going to be talking about those in the next episode. Today the pod, tomorrow the world. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks.
It was like a long pause. I'm like, what's happening? Do you not know who you are now? Because I've been there.
What a weird fucking episode.